Okay, here we are. Let's start. So, I'm Milad, and in this video, I'd like to talk about the general tips and tricks I have for finding a job as a developer around the world. And actually, my experience is limited to Europe, to Finland. I haven't tried that for Canada and USA, but I tried PhD positions for those countries as well. So I believe that the tricks and tips for the whole world is pretty much the same, as long as it's related to developer jobs. And because basically uh, all the companies want pretty much the same people. Okay, the tips and tricks I want to tell you uh, are not actually 100% right. Some people don't agree with that. Some people actually have other ideas, and there is a chance that at some point in future I change my mind about some of these points and these tricks. And these tricks are good for those who want to find a job really fast. And actually, if you don't have really a good background and you don't have the necessary experience in web development, uh, these tips and tricks are for you. I have a list of notes here. Let me find it so I don't want to forget about the things I want to tell you about. Okay, here we are. And so let me first tell you about my background. Uh, I have already a couple of videos on, about finding a job as a developer in my channel, but I just wanted to gather all the information in one place. And a lot of people ask me again a lot of questions about this, so I thought maybe it's a big thing around the world. So let's share my knowledge with others, and it's good to share how I think and how I experience things. So my background is like this. Basically, I was a machine learning engineer, web developer, data science back in my country. I come from Iran, and around 3 years ago almost, I came to Finland to study PhD in biomedical engineering. After 1 year studying PhD, basically a part of my job in the research team was developing a software for gathering data, and I was doing web development basically. After 1 year doing that as part of the research team, uh, the, there was no point for me to continue that. And basically, having a PhD doesn't help you to get a job faster as a developer. They don't care even what degree you have. It's amazing that uh, if you have a degree in computer science, it could make it a bit easier, but it's not that much. And if you have the necessary skills and experiences they want from you, that's all. They don't care even what degree you have. And nobody asked me, and nobody asked me to show my degree to them, which is actually, it's not in computer science. My degree, my master's degree in electrical engineering. But even nobody asked me about that. So that's the whole point. The very first thing I wanted to let you know, that you don't have to have a degree. That's the point of it. Anyway, well, I did that PhD thing for 1 year. Then the first reason was why I'm doing this, and the second reason was that basically after 1 year my contract ended, and well, my professor didn't have enough funding to provide me. Then I decided to move on and find a job here. And because my contract ended actually 2 months, well, actually, I had only 2 months to renew my resident permit. and I was really difficult during that time because most of the people and most of the countries companies were in holidays. It was July, I believe. But that's exactly the point I want to share with you here, that you can do it even if there is a really short period you have if you have a really short time, you can do it. Believe yourself. The only thing you need to do is the things I'm going to tell you here in this video. Then for, I think it's almost 2 years that I've been working as a web developer, basically a PHP developer. PHP is not really famous, it's not popular that much around the world these days. Python and JS is much more popular, but still there are a lot of companies, products and softwares and websites based on PHP and the frameworks and CMS related to that. So still there is a lot of job out there for PHP developers. Also, I do some JS development at my work actually, but as the side projects for my projects, I use Python mostly for machine learning stuff or web development, and I prefer usually a combination of Python with JS, basically Django framework and React JS framework. Let me check the camera. Okay, everything looks good. So let's go through the tips and tricks I have for you. The first one was that, well, don't care about the degree, it doesn't matter. If you have it, well, it's good. It's just one line in your CV, that's all, I believe. If you don't have any experience and if you just want to start being a developer from scratch, that's possible that you can find a job in 6 months. You need to, the very first thing is that you need to start watching YouTube tutorials. It's completely free, you don't have to pay any money for that. Start watching YouTube videos on basically these 3 languages. Either it should be Python, JavaScript, or PHP. I highly recommend that you start with Python, then go to JavaScript, then at the end it's good to have a little bit knowledge of PHP. And start with that, with the basic ones. Basically, when you want to do the interviews, for technical interviews, they usually just want you to write a piece of code in vanilla JS or vanilla Python. You don't have to work with the frameworks at all. So you have to know a little bit about the language itself, the basic, doing, loop conditions, if conditions, about the data structures, data types, just to write on some algorithms. That's all you need to know for the interviews. For the second tip, I highly suggest that you, after learning the basics, you go to the next level. Watch some YouTube tutorials on creating projects with those languages, and learn some frameworks. Like if you learn Python, learn how to work with Django, which is a web framework. Or if you learned JS, start learning React.js. It's a framework for JS to build front-end applications. And then try to modify those projects and use those projects to actually modifying them, make them better, add some features to them, and then put them into your GitHub account. And the third tip I have for you is that start learning about these tools, about version control like Git, then learn about GitHub, put those projects in your GitHub basically, and then start learning about databases a little bit, work with databases, and some other tools about project management like Jira and these kind of tools. Search about it a little bit, because you want to put these names in your CV. It's really important. And during interviews, they just ask you with which tools you have worked so far. So you can just name that I use, this version control, and I use this tool for project management. I use this databases, and there is a chance that after that they don't ask you any question about that. It's good enough that they see you have heard of these tools and you know how to work with them. And for the basic level, for the first 2 rounds of interviews, it's usually enough. And build your knowledge on software development, software engineering, web development, step by step. And I think you can do it if you want to start from scratch. If you know nothing about web development, you can start doing that, and you can build your knowledge in maybe 6 months. It depends. It could take 3 weeks to 1 year, but on average, if you want to start from scratch, I think it's going to take 6 months, and you can do it in 6 months. Okay, let me check to make sure that everything's good. So now it's time for actually preparing the CV. So about CV, I can say that just put everything I told you so far in your CV, and put an address of your projects into your CV. It's good that you have 2 projects. It's an example that you have worked with these tools, because you haven't worked in any other companies. So for CV, one important thing is that companies are looking for people who have the same skills they want for the job. It's obvious. So one important thing you need to do is that tailor your CV based on the job description. Basically, you need to copy and paste everything is in the job description and put it in your CV. You just need to rephrase things, and you need to use other language, other tone, basically rephrase the words, so make it looks good in your CV. And that's basically you need to do. Just need to match your CV with the job description. That's all you need to do. But it's really difficult if you want to apply to hundreds of jobs in 2 months. So my suggestion is that you divide the jobs you're going to apply for, divide it into maybe 3 or 4 categories, and then create one CV for each category. I did the same. I wanted to apply to data science, machine learning, data engineering jobs, so I created multiple CVs with different areas and names and fields in it. I have experience in all of these things, but the problem is that if you put all of them in one CV, they will be wondering why. What's your direction? What's the point? Why you are doing all of these things? And they start to think that you don't have any goal, and that's really bad. So you need to show that you have a focus on one thing, and it's that particular language. For instance, it's JavaScript, it's around Python, it's around machine learning, it's around web development. Just pick a field and build your CV around that. When somebody looks at your CV, they should instantly understand that you are interested in this particular field. You have experiences, you have skills, you have the background, you have projects. So if you want to apply to multiple jobs with different areas, for instance, one is for PHP and the other job is for JS development, create 2 different CVs. One for PHP development and one for JS development. That's really important. So you just need to match your CV with the job description. That's what I have for you for this part. And the last part is that, which is really important. A part of this process is luck, is chance. You don't have to. There is a part that is out of your control, and you can't control it. No matter how good you are, no matter how much experience you have, there is a part that is out of your control, and you can't do anything about it. So you need to increase the odds of winning. You need to increase your chance. So what you need to do is simply apply more and more. That's my simple suggestion I have for you, and this is exactly what I did during that 2 months. I applied as many as I can, and I found as many jobs as I could, and that's how it works. So don't care about the rejections. You're gonna get a lot of the rejections. I will talk about rejection. It feels really bad. I understand it. It feels really awful, but this is what it is, and this is the way the world works basically in the first place. So don't care about the rejections. It's normal. There are hundreds of other applicants who get these rejection letters. That's fine. So I think that's all I have for you. It's already it's 16 minutes I'm talking, but let me ask me if you have any question. Let me know about your concerns and questions about this. And let me tell you that here is basically, I can say that it's the city center of Tampere city, and the weather is getting really good. We had sun in the sky after 1 week, I think, but the weather is great. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this video. See you in the next one. Bye bye.